Okay.
Did I start?
Yeah. Start whenever you want.
Survival. Survival. A short story by me. Just when the Terminator autopilot started to creep me out, the bus halted to a stop. So this was our town. I was expecting it to look run down and poorly lit, but the pool of lava at the bus exit was a complete surprise. I stabilized myself before leaping over the pool onto the burning asphalt. I then quickly turned to help out the next member on the bus. Khan, I don't think I can make it, my best friend Paul said. Your name's Khan? The female voice behind him. What kind of name is that? A nickname, I responded. It's short for Samuel Conway. I shrugged off her rudeness and extended an arm to Paul. He reluctantly took it as I pulled him across the fire and threw my arm around his waist for support. He responded to my help by putting his arm over my shoulders. The two of us worked together for a long time. You could have asked anyone, and they would have said that Paul and I were the best custodial staff Yale had ever seen. Prior to meeting, Paul worked in construction. Of course, that was before his injuring his. I can read, I promise. He still could walk with a limp and all, but he couldn't run for the life of him. As for me, I just lived discontent with the meaning of life. I always felt there was more to life than just working and reproducing. You know, something special that would make my life worthwhile. The girl, however, I had just met her at the bus station. She, Paul, and I were able to make it out of our homes before the attack hit us. Alicia the carpenter, I thought that was how she introduced herself. Three of us were strategically dressed in yellow hazmat suits that were already caked in dirt despite us only putting them on a few minutes ago. I guess that was what happened to clothes when the sky was raining ashes. However, the fourth guy with us was an idiot, wearing a suit and tie dressing like the frickin' CIA. Alicia hopped off the bus and the other guy followed. The only thing that looked remotely human was the bar, whose LED signs were still intact. Everywhere else, the asphalt was cracked up with lava seeping through it. It only makes sense to head to the bar. I led the Ford bus and began walking there. For a few minutes, we rummaged around looking for usable materials that we could survive on. There was nothing we found. We all sat feeling like failures. That's when I saw something hanging off the wall. I released Paul and handed him my pistol for protection. I then walked over to a silver-colored object that was mounted there, discovering it was a fully loaded MP5. I snatched it off the wall and turned around to aim. Right in my line of sight, there was a monster that ran me out of my home. So I shot it in the head about 3 times without warning. Alicia and Paul both jumped a little and turned to look at what I was doing, but the other guy screamed like the little girl he was. Zombie, I said, nodding at the creature I just shot down. Alicia was on her feet as soon as I said it, and Paul attempted to get up, forgetting about his crippled knee. Shooting the zombie felt amazing, really amazing. For the longest time, I felt purposeless, but in this moment, I felt like meaning. I knew I was supposed to save the life that was left on the planet from this apocalyptic demons. Adrenaline rushed. I ran over to help Paul up. I could see the zombies beginning to enter the bar, but with Paul in my arm, I wasn't able to shoot. Throw me the pistol, Alicia demanded. I shook my head in response. Go find your own weapon. She flipped me the finger before heading up the bar steps. I then started to move Paul upstairs too, as the zombies began pouring in. They instantly went for the man dressed like an agent. Come on, guy, I called out to him, unable to recall his name. They're gonna get you. The man stayed in the corner of the room, unmoving. He was completely frozen in fear, to the point where I couldn't even hear him whimpering. Khan, get up here, Alicia screamed. I didn't really want to leave the guy behind, but there was no saving him at this point. I dragged Paul up the stairs and found Alicia with the zombie body at her foot. I think it's best we leave. Like, now, she said. All the exits are blocked by now, I explained, not wanting to think about the guy who likely died down there. Okay, so maybe my life's purpose wasn't to save everyone, but I could focus on saving the less people this way. Well, we've got to leave now, Alicia remarked. We need to see if we can find anything by the diner down the road. I knew she was right. I signed in defeat and handed Paul over to Alicia, who cringed when Paul made contact with her. I guess she was one of those people who didn't like physical contact. Or maybe she just hated the crippled. Letting her reason leave my mind, I walked over to the missing wall in the back of the room and dangled my legs over the wall. I'm gonna jump, I told the two. Alicia nodded in approval while Paul seemed to think I was bluffing. I shifted my body so I could grab the ledge before letting my body fall through the wall gap. Now, closer to the ground, I released my grip on the bar's second floor, embracing myself for the fall. I landed on my feet, but then wobbled backwards, almost into a pit of lava. Send Paul down, I yelled up to Alicia. Me? What? I can't make it. How high up do you think I am? Paul complained, ignoring his whining. Alicia shoved him off the edge and into my arms. I was very glad she pushed him because the zombies were starting to notice our new location. I looked up at Alicia, wondering if she needed... Ugh. I looked up at Alicia, wondering if she needed any help getting down when a zombie crawled up behind her. "Watch out," I yelled as it bit straight into her ankle. Alicia collapsed to the floor and pulled out her pistol. She shot the zombie numerous times before the monster's blue eyes stalled out and the body collapsed. Paul and I seemed a little freaked out right then because we both noticed the mob of the dead that were forming behind Alicia. Apparently she noticed because she began crawling vigorously out towards the exit that I used. I thought it was a bit ironic that she herself was unable to walk now, and right after she gave that reaction to Paul too. I set Paul down, leaving my arms open to catch her, and Paul shot some zombies that were coming too close to us. I opened my arms up wide, preparing to catch the crippled girl. Once Alicia fell and landed safely into my arms, I swung her onto my back and picked up the limping Paul. I used all of the energy I had to run to the closest building, away from the creatures following behind. I kicked the door in and sat the two of them down in the corner. Alicia seemed like a strong girl, but I could tell she was on the verge of tears. "Am I going to die?" she spoke softly. "Will I turn into one of them?" I shook my head. "You'll be better in no time." I pulled out a syringe in one of my suit pockets and then jabbed the needle into Alicia's leg, exactly where the zombie bit. I could have injected it gently, but anyway, her reaction was the pain was priceless. I also thought about how truly fascinating it was that a zombie was able to tear through her suit pants and flesh all in one bite. This is a revival vaccine. It can't turn a zombie into a human, but it will stop the effects of a bite and it will have on you. Ugh. I explained as I heard in the distance I heard honking. "The bus!" Alicia exclaimed. She hopped off as if her injury had been nothing and raced out the door. Recklessly trying to chase after the bus. I stupidly followed behind her in an attempt to drag her back. We just made it to where the lot of the bus had been and it took off. "It left us behind," she said, seeming unsure if she should cry or throw bricks at a wall. "Let's get back. It's safer inside." I tried to explain, but she refused to listen. "It can't be that far to the diner. I'll just walk. I've got a weapon, so I'll be fine," she said in an attempt to rationalize her decision. I grabbed her by the shoulders, trying to draw her back inside the rundown building. Wrong move. Maybe she really didn't have anything against the crippled people after all. "Damn it, cunt, I don't need this from you right now," she rambled. "I'm going, and you and Paul should be going now anyways. He needs you more than I do." I watched her jog away in the foggy streets the bus left on. It took only a moment for me to completely lose sight of her, but soon after it happened, I heard the ear-piercing scream of a girl coming from that direction. At first, I thought it was the guy from earlier, but common sense told me he was already long gone. I felt a zombie spot at me from behind, quickly sending me into reality. I turned quickly, drawing the gun off my back, and sent bullets flying at the thing like there was no tomorrow. That's when I remembered the important thing, Paul. "Shit," I muttered to myself as I ran to the room that I left Paul in. When I got there, he was gone, but the pistol I lent him was laying on the splintering wood floor. In an attempt to run my fingers through my hair, as I often do when I felt lost, but the yellow helmet prevented me. That annoyed me a bit, but it also helped me realize my situation. I let them all die. It was just my luck to find my purpose and let them die. Literally, the nameless guy, Alicia, Paul, all gone. Maybe my meaning was only to protect myself, that I could have probably done that. I continued to think as I shot at the zombies attempting to corner me in. Some were able to get close enough to scratch my arms, but none were able to get a killing blow on me. I shot at the things that could have once been my neighbors or friends, almost feeling high. It was amazing how that many were dropping dead at the touch of a trigger. After the floor was covered in bodies and blood, it all became silent. No more zombies were knocking down the door or dropping from the ceiling. No more bullets were left to be shot. It was a bit unnerving. Just think that thought crossed my mind. One undead came up behind me and bit me in the neck. It dropped down instantly, and one hand over the flesh wound. The zombie who bit me grabbed my arm and began to gnaw on it. It hurt at first, but with the more bites the zombie gave me, I felt less and less pain. In fact, I felt nothingness. There was no reason for me to be here or to live. I should just have withered away. I turned to look at my attacker in my final human memory. It was a male, but the face was all distorted, like he could have been dead for centuries. I would have never identified it as Paul if it wasn't for the matching yellow hazmat suit he was wearing. I made a noise that was supposed to be laughter, but it sounded more like choking. So much for life purpose.
Nice story.
I kept checking back to see if you hadn't been muted.
I loaded up Skype to make I loaded up OBS and Skype to see if I was like to see if the sound was coming through alright. But yeah, I think it should be good.
I totally screwed that up.
Should we do an outro? Bye guys.
Bye.
But we forgot to record. Start recording, guys. Let's just say bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. Okay, that's.